Hello there. This is an IRPG related video with 3 sections in it. The first is an invitation, the second will be information, and the third is artwork from Duke. I'll launch straight in with the invitation. I and my fellow RPGists hereby invite you to join us in a stream. We are going to stream the next IRPG session we have, which will be at 7 PM GMT on the 16th of December 2011 at the address below. So please join us then. I realise that Friday may not be the best day for some of you, especially in the if you're in America or Canada, because at that sort of time on a Friday you will be at work or at school, and so you won't be able to join us, and I apologise for that. Sometimes we play on Saturdays, but this week we're playing on a Friday. So if you can join us this Friday at 7 GMT at the address below, then please join us. I'm using the live stream from my Variax channel, my normal Let's Playing streaming channel, because there's no real point making a new one when I've already got one to use. So that's what I'll be doing, that's what we'll be doing. It will be mostly an audio based stream because the game that we're playing doesn't really use Maptool or visual aids very much. It does occasionally, but it's mostly descriptive. So you will be listening more than watching something, just so you know. To give you some examples of the sessions that we do, I recorded some pieces of gameplay from last session that we did last Saturday, and I will be uploading those throughout the week so you can have some idea what to expect from the stream and see if it appeals to you or not. We had a lot of fun last week, so hopefully it should be as fun again next week, and the stream shouldn't affect the gameplay too much. As far as interacting with the chat is concerned, I imagine that, well, the whole nature of the game is that there are 4 characters within it, and not all characters are present for every scene, so players who aren't really playing the game then, because their characters are away doing something else, will probably be able to interact with the chat if they want to. You know, I'm not making them, but if they want to, while the other characters are actually playing the game. So I'm not quite sure exactly what's going to happen with interacting with the stream. I certainly will try to, but obviously while I'm playing the game, I'll be playing the game, and I'm assuming that will work with all the other characters, players as well. So yeah, we'll just see how it goes. But please join us for the stream if you're interested. I'm not quite sure how many people we'll get, if any, but it's just a little experiment, and the sessions are actually really fun and very good, at least very fun for us. So we're hoping that it'd be fun to watch as well. You know, that's what we're thinking. So yeah, hopefully that should do well. Now what will follow will be information about the game, so you will have some sort of idea about what the hell's going on and what our characters are. Alright, so the game begins with us waking up in a underground temple with a dais and an elaborate looking long dagger upon it. We don't know each other. None of us have seen each other in our lives, but we've all had a dream, a vision, in which a voice had spoken to us. And I'm now going to bring up Winston's own little script that he read to us, and I'm going to read it to you as best that I can, so you can hear what our characters heard. That is not it. When the pieces come into place, it is foolish to simply sit and watch. Action where action is due, and vengeance when vengeance is due. I am Severon. I have chosen you, the broken, the liar, the happy, and the depraved. Alone you are weak mortals, but together you are my Messiah. You will give me my vengeance. This hall was once a mighty shrine to my greatness, and now it is but a ruin. The fools of mankind do not know of its purpose. My presence here is strong, but I cannot leave this chamber. I require the proper rituals, which you will perform. The book, the spilling of noble blood, and a pure vessel are what I require. The pieces are in place. You have but a small window. Succeed and you will be rewarded. Then I take this world for myself and become God. You will each become immortal kings. Fail, and I shall hunt you for the rest of your short lives. So, upon hearing this, our characters set about doing their actions. There are 3 key points to this: the book, the pure vessel, and the noble blood. The blade on the table, my character actually tried to take, but Zhao's character actually ended up taking because I really did not want to be there at the time. In fact, I'm just going to quickly go through who our characters are. So here they are. This chap is Solomon. He is my character. He is a swindler. He is the liar. He likes his luxury, and he doesn't mind double-crossing people and even hurting people to get what he wants, but he is in essence a coward. This is Orano. He's a very odd dwarf who's slightly insane. I expect he would be the depraved. No, he'd be the broken. He's the broken one, I guess, broken of mind. He is accompanied by his cat, Alina, who speaks to him and tells him what to do sometimes. This is Guy, the depraved. He has very few morals. He's a man of few words, very big, muscular guy, doesn't mind trampling over people to get what he wants. And this is Valen, the harpy. She is a harlot, a lady of the night, but she also, when the mood takes her, when she finds suitable prey, will kill the individuals she entertains, I suppose you could say, in order to profit from their deaths. She also has a hatred of fat, lazy men. Okay, so our characters all try and forget about what they've just witnessed in their dreams, and we all go out, but there's a niggling feeling in our bones, so we all, in our own different ways, try and find out about this Severon. And actually, my character says, before we leave, look, if we do meet someone like that, if we do have to meet again, I will be at the Water's Edge Tavern, which is where we're staying, in the upper class area of the city. So they all go about finding information through their particular ways. We all have contacts throughout the city, and we all learn that Severon was indeed very real. He was a demon of the ancient world, pretty much. He was also a trustworthy one, i.e. if we did what he wanted, he would probably not kill us. Also, my character went to the library to do his little research about it, and he found out also that by asking about Severoth, Severon even, we keep calling him Severoth, his actual name is Severon, he was a bit shunned, like the librarian tried to usher him away and was really not keen on talking about it at all. He did learn, however, that there was an ancient temple built at the founding of Ishion, which is where it's set in Rune, which would more than likely be the place where he woke up in. Also, while at the library, my character meets a young lady called Tanya, and being the suave, sophisticated gentleman that he is, and he likes to indulge in the finer things in life, and that includes women, he charms her a little bit and gets her to come along to the inn. And then at the meeting, that is actually who this is. Oops, just move out a bit there. That's Tanya. She shows up for a little bit, but by then we were all very, very concerned about the demons that are the demons that are chasing us. Because I actually told it out of order, and I asked her out before I found out that Severoth was real. So my mind was on other things as I went into the library. Regardless, Tanya shows up, but I kind of fob her off, but she still kind of likes me. And in this meeting, we decide that we are going to actually work together. That was the first session, actually. In the next session, let me just turn the page because I've been making notes on this, which is essentially day 2. The next morning, my character Solomon is actually staying at this rather extravagant inn, and so gets himself a nice big breakfast. And this is actually a rather amusing little story. Valen actually spent that night, I believe, either in a box or sleeping in front of the fire at her contact's house, a blind man called Sockets, and she managed to steal some food from him because she's quite unscrupulous as well, which she was still starving hungry, and my character, Solomon, decided very generously to give her a slice of bread, which she decided that she would very disdainfully take from the lazy fat man. But then as soon as she turned her head away from him, she was just like, nom, 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 stuffed it down because she was starving, but tried to maintain an element of dignity about it. Then Guy and Arano showed up, and they decided to invoke a plan. Now, the noble blood, we knew what that was, so Valen, being a harlot, we felt that she would be able to lure a man of noble blood to, well, to use for his noble blood. So my character sent all three of them off to go and do that, while my character, he did intend to do something else, but I forget what that was, actually, because, yes, he got distracted on the way, and there is actually a comic strip of this, so we're actually going to include Duke's artwork throughout this part of the video rather than at the end. It makes more sense. Yes, on his way to wherever he was going, he found these two individuals. They are called Sengar and Elast, and the observant of you will know that they were actually used last session. Sengar was actually Winston's character, and Elast was Death Incarnate's character for the session that I ran previous to this that never finished. But yeah, Winston decided to put them into the game. Now, Duke's been making a little comic strip of this, but it's not finished yet. That's what he's got so far. Basically, my character, who I think, if any of you know him, looks a little bit like Jeff Major, decides he wants to. These guys are carrying sacks, big heavy sacks, and he wants to know what the what's in these sacks. So he convinces them that he's got some magic levitating dust back at the inn. So he brings them back there and actually manages to get Elast really blind drunk so that he passes out, and convinces Sengar to go and get some water to make the dust work. So Sengar leaves, Elast passes out from drink. My character, looks into these sacks to find that there's 4 of them, and they are absolutely full to the brim with gold. They're just absolutely piled high with gold. So my character becomes absolutely stinking rich. Winston, as a side note, never really intended for this to happen. He just put Elast and Sengar in there as like a little diversion. But yeah, it turned out to be a major plot point, because from now on, Sengar and Elast are actually after my character. A little later on, my character is like heaving these sacks up the stairs, and Zao's character, oh, I forget his name. That's really bad. I've just said it as well. Arano, that's it. Actually takes one of the sacks for himself. While this was all happening, though, and before Arano comes back, the 3 of them go up to towards the castle to try and find a nobleman. While there, Valen gets accosted by the guards. 2 guards approach her and says, and they ask her what she's doing, and she says, "Well, it's public property, isn't it?" And one of the guards says, "Yes, love, and by the look of it, so are you." Which I thought was rather amusing. Guy steps in at this point at Arano's request, like ushers him towards her, because they're like hiding in the shadows, and he approaches and says, "Is something the matter?" And then realizing what he's supposed to be saying, says, "Dear," because he's supposed to be her husband or something. And the guards wander off. They find Valen finds an older gentleman she lures back to the temple where we woke up at, and drugging him with some wine with sleeping powder in it. They actually managed to get him onto the altar, and with the knife that Arano had, Valen tries to cut him ever so slightly, and blood does flow from his arm, but it does nothing. This was actually quite an intense scene. I wasn't listening. I was listening to this. My character wasn't present because he was too busy hugging his bags of gold at the inn. But it was a very intense scene, this, very intense, and Guy says this is how you do it, and he takes the knife from her and just stabs this guy straight through the chest. There was an eruption of blood, an absolute eruption of blood, and Guy became imbued with the power of Severon, actually earned what is essentially experience, a fate point from doing this, and that was one of the 3 things that we had to do completed. That was the, of course, noble blood, and that was the end of day 2. Day 3, this is where there's some recordings which will follow in the next week. I started recording the sessions at this point, and so throughout the next couple of days you will hear these little scenes being played out. The first one you will hear is Irano going to a temple and asking what a pure vessel is. He finds out that it's a virgin. He needs to find a virgin. But there's a lot to that scene, but I'll upload that maybe tomorrow. It's market day, so my character, with all of his gold, goes into market. He buys a pendant. He also gets a few potions. Interesting as well, he sees Sengar and Elast looking for him. These 2 characters here looking for him, stalking around the market, but he manages to see them first, thankfully, thanks to an awareness roll, and so manages to scalp her off and goes to the library. I'll get to that a little later on. Irano and Guy actually go and buy clothes. We have a picture of Irano buying clothes here. The cat, at this point, Alina, decides that she wants Irano to buy a fluffy pink dress, quite an elaborate pink dress, but he doesn't, because it'll take a week to get ready to fit her, sadly. He, in the end, decides to buy nothing, because the clothes that he wants would also take about a week to fit, to actually make, because he's a dwarf, and this guy here, very unimpressed with him, because he mostly serves humans, and I think he was a little bit racist. When he gets some crazy dwarf peasant walking in with a cat, he wasn't overly impressed. But yes, he wanted to buy some nice clothes for himself, as he had this bag of gold as well, stashed back at the temple. But he didn't buy anything, sadly for him. Guy also goes to the shop a little bit later on, buys clothes, and that's been recorded, so I'll upload that later in the week as well. What else happens? Right, oh yes, my character goes to visit Tanya in the library. She's a little bit sick, but he does a bit of running around for her and makes her feel a bit better. Gets her a potion of cure disease, essentially, and she feels a lot better, and he wants to meet her at 10 o'clock on the library steps that night. A successful persuasion roll means that he does this. Then later that night, I'm going to call it the library heist, and I'm going to leave it as vague as possible, because I'm going to upload this as well. This is like an hour-long scene that was bloody brilliant. It was freaking awesome, this scene. Sadly, it only featured myself, Irano, and Guy. Well, Solomon, Irano, and Guy. That's me, Duke, and Zhao. Poor little Alunara and Valen went off to work that night and earned a little bit of gold, but yes, she wasn't part of the actual scene, which was a shame. But what I was doing was wanting to use Tanya to get into the library, to get into the place where they keep the hidden books, the books that might contain information about Severon and all the actual book that that he needs, because he needs a vessel, a book, and noble blood. Now he's got noble blood now as Severon. We know what a vessel is, so all we have to do now is find the book. So that's what I was after. I was going to use Tanya to sneak myself in. Irano and Guy tagged along, and I thought I could maybe use both of them, or at least use Irano, because he has, I think, a sleight of hand skill, so he can pick locks and such with it, so I thought he might quite be useful. And Guy tagged along, and I will leave you to find out what happened in that scene, because I will upload that towards the end of the week, maybe Thursday. I'll upload that. It'll be a long video, but it'll be well worth watching because it was a freaking awesome scene. And after that scene ended, the session ended. So when you start watching the stream, we'll be on day 4, and yes, we'll continue it from there. So I hope that wasn't too dull for you all. I realise I'm not the best at recapping situations and making it sound... I probably made it sound a lot duller than it actually was, but these sessions are freaking amazing to play, and you should indeed watch the next video that I put out, because it'll be a scene involving Guy buying some clothes, and that's pretty hilarious. So yeah, and that's what you can expect to find in the stream. So I thought I'd give you a bit of background information about what's actually happened within the game so far and who our characters are. So you're up to speed for when the stream starts. So yeah, so that's it. If you watch the stream, I hope you enjoy it, and yes, I'll see you next time when I'll probably do another update of this, because even though I said I wouldn't update the thing on the website because I'm streaming it, I thought I would, and the fact that it's so much fun and it's such a good plot, and yeah, it's a really good fun game to play. So it'd be a shame not to talk about it. So I'm talking about it, but I'm done now. So yeah, I bored you for long enough. Alright, so thanks guys. Toodaloo.